Hey, Motorman here, and I'm at Eurocycles of Tampa. And the reason I'm here is I'm going to take the brand new BMW R18 for a test ride and review. This is the front of their building right here, and I got to put my mask on. Just got to wear a mask to go inside. In fact, I asked my doctor the other day how long this COVID thing was going to go on. He said, "What are you asking me for? I'm not a politician." But anyway, let's go inside. And here it is, the R18. A lot of people have been waiting to see this, myself included. Sometimes you look at the pictures and you really can't tell. I think it looks better in person than it does in the photos. And that is a big Boxster motor, a Boxer motor. I don't know why I call it Boxster. I got that Porsche Boxster thing in my head. But it's a Boxer motor, 1800 cc's. Classic wire wheels. And this is, I guess you would call this the German version of what of an American cruiser, because it's definitely got the American style to it. The paint color is black, but it is a metallic. You probably can't see that in the video, but it does have some sparkle to it, no question about that. This is called the first edition model, and from what I understand from the manager here at Eurocycles, Alex, there's going to be several versions of this: hard bagger, soft bagger, fairing, all the touring amenities. That's a lot of chrome on that motor. Of course, ABS and cornering ABS is standard. 3 riding modes. It is what I guess you could consider a modern classic. The tank, and especially this pinstriping here, is reminiscent of the older R models. This is definitely a cruiser, unlike the last cruiser that BMW made. I personally like the styling of it, but it certainly didn't look like an American cruiser, whereas it's the exact opposite with this motorcycle. All right, upon mounting the motorcycle, the first thing I notice is it's an extremely low seat height. As I've said before, I'm 5'7", but I identify as a 6'5" person, and it no problem. I mean, flat-footing this, I would think if you're 5'2", you could flat-foot this motorcycle. Lifting the bike up off the stand, piece of cake. The weight is way down low. And let's start her up and see what it sounds like. The handlebars are there. Yeah, a bit of a reach for me. Not bad at all if I scoot up on the seat. It's just about perfect. And notice when you rev the motor, like most BMWs with the Boxer motor, I'm not doing that on purpose. It sort of tilts to the side a bit, to the left. The exhaust on it, yeah, a bit subdued, but not bad. I'm holding it at 11,000 RPM or so, because when I release the throttle, it feels like it wants to stall. I don't know if it actually will, but it does feel that way. You can see the handlebars shaking. Bring those revs up a little bit, and that shaking stops. But let's get it out on the road, see what it's like. I noticed the clutch and the brake levers are adjustable. There's an adjustment wheel on them. And these are mid controls on this motorcycle, which I really believe that you don't have much of a choice with the way the cylinders stick out on the sides of the bike, and being that the seat is so low, my knees are up pretty far. A very similar riding position to a Harley Lowrider S. And as your basic cruisers go, muscle cruisers, I would say this bike competes with Harley's Lowrider S model or the Fat Boy, and the Indian model that doesn't come with the windshield or crash bars or anything. I forget what model that is. It's usually see them blacked out. And probably the new Triumph. I asked the manager here, Alex, what BMW was trying to do, what type of buyer they're looking for, BMW is looking for this motorcycle. And I said, is it the typical BMW rider who comes in maybe looking for a sport tourer or a naked sport bike? Are they hoping to switch that type of rider over to a cruiser? And he said no. What they'd like to do is, being that the cruiser market in America is just about 50% of all bikes sold in America are cruisers, they'd be happy with just 1% of that market. And that would mean about 7,000 of these bikes a year sold by BMW. And they said that they'd be thrilled with that. They'd really like to take some sales away from Harley Davidson and Indian. Motor is very smooth. Lots of power and torque. Then I do feel some vibration coming through to the hand grips. And even at speed, when you give it a little rev, the bike jumps to the left. It's not a big deal, just something to get used to. If you're a BMW rider, you're probably already used to that feeling. Moto Guzzi is another one that does that. The seat is on the firm side. You know, to really test the seat out, though, you'd have to ride well, 3 or 4 hours, I'd say. But it feels fine in this short ride that I'm going to be taking. Peak power is reached at about 4,700 RPM, and I believe that's somewhere around over 90 horsepower. So again, I would, and I'll check on that, make sure that I'm correct about that. But torque is what you feel, not horsepower when you're accelerating. And you definitely feel plenty of torque on this bike. Gonna let this truck get a little bit ahead of me. I'd like to see what the lean angle is like. I noticed it wasn't listed on the BMW website. Got just a little bit of a scrape there. So I'm gonna give my seat of the pants estimate of the lean angle to be around 28 degrees or so. Give or take 1 degree. Maybe 2. But probably just 1. Turns in really nice. I think BMW did if the idea was to make it feel like an American cruiser, if that was their goal, they definitely did it, because it certainly doesn't feel like a BMW. Pretty sure this is a 6-speed transmission, but I'm gonna check that out as soon as I get out of these curvy roads here. Yeah, we got a few curves in Florida. It's not all dead straight. Okay, 95% of it is dead straight, but we do have curves here and there. The bike weighs, I believe it's 762 pounds, but it doesn't feel like. It feels more like a 650-pound motorcycle. The counter steering turns in immediately. Never push forward on the left grip, you lean left and go left. Push forward on the right grip, you lean right and go right. My video on counter steering, push steering, got lots of hits. I think it's up over 500,000. So if you're not familiar with how that works, you should check out. In fact, I'll put a link to it below. BMW will be coming out with an accessory catalog. It is not out yet. And just about anything you could want, they say, will be available from BMW. First thing I would get would be cylinder protectors, because if you just tip this bike over without them, it's going to be a pretty expensive tip over. Yeah, there's some more scraping. Yeah, 28, 29 degrees, something like that. I'm going to take off from first gear. Hit the rev limiter there, which I'm guessing is about 5,000 RPM. Now there is a tach right here, digital tach. But I didn't glance at it when I hit that rev limiter. I'm guessing about 5,000 RPM or so. As I said, this bike does have cornering ABS. And hopefully you never have to use that, but it's nice to have it. I've got it on my 2020 Police Electric Light, and it is available as an option on many of the Harley touring bikes. I see there's also, it tells you what gear you're in. 4th gear right now, and we're at 45. Takes right off. There's 5th gear and 6. Yes, it is a 6-speed. When you get into motors this size, 1800 cc's or so, you really don't need that 6th gear very much, except out on the highway. Smooths things out, makes for relaxed cruising. And that's what this bike is, a cruiser. Again, a little bit of scraping there. And I'm not being really aggressive. It's not my motorcycle. I don't feel I have the right to do that. So let's see, this bike idles at between 950 and 1,000 RPMs normally once it's warmed up. Yeah, if you're looking for power, this bike has got it. Plenty of power. This is a big heavyweight American style cruiser. But the only drawback I can see so far is that I do feel some vibration in the handlebars, which it could get on your nerves. You see, we'll shift it up now. We're in fourth, much less vibration. Fifth gear, hardly any at all. So I guess you got to get above about 3,000 RPM to feel anything in there as far as vibration coming through the grips. Now I prefer, as you probably know, I prefer cruiser type motorcycles. People say or they think that I'm a Harley fanatic. I'm not a fanatic. It's just that about 95% of my clientele, people that come to my class and buy my videos, ride Harleys. So that's why I ride them. If 95% of the people that come to me were on Gold Wings or BMWs, believe me, that's what I'd be riding. I like all different kinds of motorcycles, all different types, but mainly my cruiser or my clientele are riding cruisers or cruising tours, baggers, etc. I would think that this motorcycle, if you add a windshield and some bags, yeah, you're ready to do some long distance riding. Right now I'm cruising at 60 miles an hour in fifth gear, turning over 2,450 RPM. I'm going to try the different modes here. This is called Rock, which is like a sport mode. I don't feel a big difference in power. When you got this kind of power, one mode to the other is not going to be such a big deal. Ride is on the firm side. You got 4.7 inches of travel in the front suspension and 3.5 in the back. Yeah, that's somewhere around average for this type of bike. As is usual for BMWs, braking feel is excellent. And with ABS, even in an emergency stop, you really can't screw that up. And when you've got cornering ABS, you can even jam down on those brakes in the middle of a corner and the bike won't low side on you. I've yet to try that on my Harley. It just goes against my riding instincts to brake hard in a corner, but sometimes you got no choice. You're coming around a blind curve and an animal runs out in front of you, or you suddenly notice some sand or debris in the road. Having the ability to brake hard right in the middle of that turn really comes in handy. It's an excellent safety feature. Let's see what other modes we have here. We got rock, we got rain mode, and roll. Roll is your cruising mode, normal mode. By the way, it shifts very smooth. Barely any noise at all when you shift the bike. I would think one of the first things they should come out with is a windshield for this bike. I mean, around town this is fine, up to, you know, without a windshield up to 55 miles an hour you're fine, but once you get above that it gets a little tiring, being blasted completely in the face and the chest with the wind. As I'm riding this, I feel that the riding position is just fine. I'm leaning just slightly forward, but as I said, if I scoot up in the seat, you don't have to lean forward at all. But without a windshield, yeah, you're gonna lean into the wind a bit. They told me that they'll be coming out with different type handlebars, flat drag style, ape hangers, just about every accessory you could think of BMW will be putting out within the next 6 months or so. As for the aftermarket, yeah, it generally takes a couple of years before they decide to start making parts for a bike that they want to be sure it's going to be around for a long time, and before they do the R&D to make sure it's going to be worth it to have an accessory line for a new bike. By the way, if you like these reviews that I do, I would hope that you subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Click that little bell so you'll be notified every time I come out with a new video. I usually do 2 videos a week, sometimes 3. And I'm hoping to get 200,000 subscribers within the next couple of months. I think we're up to around 140,000 or so. I want to give a shout out to Eurocycles. They sell not only BMW but Ducati and Aprilia. I believe they even have Triumph as well. And it's this particular dealership in the northern part of Tampa. As you see, it's got some nice roads to take a road test on, and they do have a full line of demo bikes most of the time. Of course, production was shut off for a while, so don't expect to have every single model available for a test ride, but this bike is available at Eurocycles for you to ride. Just bring your helmet, your gear, and a motorcycle license. They'd love to have you take it for a ride. So I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed it myself. Very nice riding cruiser motorcycle. I like this. Just like this type of bike. Much more comfortable for me as compared to sport bikes. Sport bikes are a lot of fun for me. About 30 minutes after that, I want to get on something that's got an upright riding position. And this is going to be a very competitive motorcycle in this segment. By the way, MSRP starts, I believe, at $17,500, but as the manager Alex told me, that you just about never get in a bike with none of the options. So this particular one with the first edition models come in at right around $22,000. Whether that's worth it for you, well, you got to take a test ride to find out. And that's about it for now. This is Motorman signing out till next time.